Good day, fellow conference participant and faculty members. My name is Pinkan Rumondor from Psychology Department, Binus University. I'm going to present our research, me and my colleague Farah Djalal, also from Psychology Department, entitled Concept of Marriage in University Student. What is a marriage anyway? Information and technology and advancement have changed behavior in society. Currently, we are well aware of smart homes and even smart cities. However, aside from this technology advancement, it's also important to understand what is the purpose of this advancement. Learning from Japan's concept of society 5.0, technology is a tool to help people enjoy their life to the fullest. This purpose is also in line with United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goal number 3, which are ensure lives and promote well-being. In order to help people in achieving well-being, technology developed need to contribute in resolving societal challenges. In Indonesia, one of societal challenge is increasing number of divorce rate. Divorce rate in 2014 increased 52% compared to 2010. Now, research in Europe and North America have found that one of the main predictors causing divorce is low marital satisfaction. Marital satisfaction is a subjective evaluation towards one's own marital relationship. Moreover, a meta-analysis study in America and Europe showed that higher marital quality, as indicated by marital satisfaction, leads to higher personal well-being. Therefore, it is important to look at marital satisfaction and to understand how technology can help increasing marital satisfaction. Before we understand more about marital satisfaction, it is important to understand about marriage itself. It is important to understand how current people in Indonesia perceive marriage. Why? Because historical research in America have showed that marriage actually have different goals from time to time. There are at least 3 eras that depicts evolution of marriage goal. First is institutional era, where marriage is considered as a rational things to do to protect both parties' needs or both parties' heritage. Therefore, there's no need of love. What is important is usually in this era, marriage is not one's personal decision but more of a family decision. And second is companionate marriage or companionate era, where usually people chose their own partner and they need to feel love before they get married. And third of all, currently is a self-expressive era where people get married not only to feel love, to fulfill needs of belongingness and love, but also to fulfill their needs of self-expressive and self-actualization. So it is important to dig deeper about what is marriage for Indonesian people. This understanding can be used to build an early warning system that can help couple communicate better and also prevent further problems that could lead to low marital or relationship satisfaction and at the end leads to divorce. Imagine if two people have their own ideas, they have their own concept of marriage and not communicate it to each other. It could lead to um, unmet expectations and therefore less satisfaction in relationship. Therefore, again, we state that this basic research can give an idea to development of to develop a technology that can help couple communicate.
When we're talking about concepts, it can be either a concrete concept, such as fruit, or it can be an abstract concept, such as marriage. Abstract as in something that we cannot see, touch, feel with our senses, something that doesn't have physical entity nor special constraint. Marriage as an abstract concept can have different meaning for different people. Imagine that people from different generations would give different meaning about what marriage is, or between men and women, for instance. And therefore, it is possible that people would also have different expectations on how a marriage should be. As suggested in many concept studies, a concept normally described in a word could have different meanings depending on the language they spoken, the cultures of the speakers, and the generations. Take the word marriage. It can be interpreted as a status, or as an institution, or even as a social object. So, what we really want to do is to look at for some answers in the following questions. The first one, how do Indonesian students perceive marriage? Specifically, we want to know what is marriage according to them. The second one, are there any differences between students who score high and low on well-being scale in perceiving marriage? In other words, we want to look at whether students who are happy have a different ideas about what marriage is compared to students who are unhappy. What we then do is we collected data from 135 students, most of them were females, ranging in age between 17 to 20 years old. We sent out an online survey comprises of 4 different parts. The first part was a feature generation task, where we simply asked students, what is marriage according to you? And we asked them to write anything they know about marriage. This is what we called as features. The second part of the survey was a satisfaction with life scale, comprised of 5 questions revolving about how satisfied you are with your life. The third part was subjective happiness scale. In this part, we asked students to rate their level of happiness. And the last part of the survey was demographic questions such as age, gender, marital status, and so on. The survey link was spread out mostly using social media of the researchers. Anyone are welcome to participate as long as they are native Indonesians. The analysis reported in this study was a descriptive analysis, where we categorize all the features generated using McRae and colleagues procedure. Specifically, we group all the generated feature that has the same meaning with the same label. And then we calculated the frequency to see which features were generated or endorsed the most by the students.
A total of 573 generated features for the concept of marriage are grouped into several labels. And as you can see in the slides, these are the top 10 most generated features by the participants. As we can see, the top 3 are related to definition of marriage itself, which is a legal bond according to law and religion. And the second one is about the marriage itself. It involves love. And the third one is about the union of two parties. Based on the score of subjective happiness scale, participants can be classified as happy people. However, based on satisfaction with life scale, there are 9 people that falls into the category of unsatisfied and very unsatisfied people. Based on this number, then we look at the result of happy and satisfied student and also the less happy and less satisfied students, how they perceive marriage and what are the features they generated when asked about marriage. This slide showed you the most generated features from participants that falls into category of happy and satisfied students. It is interesting to see that the top three, or at least the top two most generated features, is about the marriage itself. It involves love and also a reciprocal relationship. And not until the top three, they mention about the definition of marriage, the formal definition of marriage, which is a legal bond according to law and religion. This is important and interesting when we compare to next slide result from less happy and satisfied student. In this slide, you can see the most generated feature from participants scored below 3.1 in satisfaction with life scale, which means they are less satisfied students. It is interesting that in their top of mind, marriage is to build a family. This response is not a popular response in more satisfied and happy students. So even though the sample size is small and the frequency also small compared to the sample, it is still interesting to see the difference between the satisfied and less satisfied students on how they perceive marriage. Results of this study have showed that students who score low in satisfaction level tend to think that marriage is a way to build a family. This is an unpopular response in both happy and satisfied people or students. While in those category, people or students who are happy and satisfied with their life tends to see marriage as involved love, as a reciprocal relationship, and as a union of two people. These features also implies interdependence between partner rather than just an individual goal pursuit. This study has several implications. First, when someone sees marriage as a tool, they tend to focus on how this tool can help them achieve their purpose, and consequently, they fail to appreciate the process and entity of a marriage and a relationship. Therefore, they can become less satisfied with their life. On the other hand, when someone perceives their life as not satisfying enough, they might see future, or in this case, marriage, as a tool to achieve that purpose, to make their life more satisfying. Second, when someone focuses on what a marriage comprises of, they tend to focus on what are the things needed to be added to make the marriage works. They also tend to focus more on the process compared to the outcome or the product. This perspective is more positive and could motivate the student to explore what kind of other ingredients that are needed to have a successful relationship and therefore later on a happy and satisfying marriage. The present findings give an overview on how Indonesian students perceive a marriage, and additionally, how different students who are happy and satisfied see a marriage in comparison with the unsatisfied ones. However, the study has several limitations. First, small sample size, imbalanced proportion of happy and satisfied in life versus unhappy and dissatisfied um, sample. And lastly, the bias of university students. Probably they are higher in socio and economic status, and also probably they are more happy and satisfied compared to non-university student sample. So for further study, we plan to do the same study with larger sample and more diverse background in Indonesia context. We hope to answer the question of what is a marriage for Indonesian population. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate feedback and questions.